once we really got people to think this is not just about, a time limited agenda that we've come together to solve this problem, but we're really going to think about children's budgets. We're going to think about children's and youth agendas. We're going to think about aligning policies across. We're going to think about different ways to coordinate services. And I started to build those muscles. What next? And how do we get young people involved? I mean, you've always been sort of looking at policy from both sides. We talked on that side. We're advocates, we're young people in this conversation.
Yeah. So much to dig into on all of those things. So, it's part of where having the right questions and then building in the long lists of possible answers. And so instead of a children's cabinet starting with a blank sheet and saying, hey, what do we feel like prioritizing? If we start with the big pictures, here's the realms of children's development, here's the range of ages, here's the range of populations. So you can at least be picking from a comprehensive menu. So you can be more exacting about why you're choosing a particular topic at a particular time. We have lots of different versions of dashboards that we would create that would let you look at the full picture of what's going on and react based on that. And so tried to create the zoom in, zoom out, where you can be intentional about picking a particular issue or silo as a focus, but also keeping the broader amount in mind. So if things start getting better in one area or worse in others, you could zoom in. So yeah, some of the things you mentioned, Karen, is the people who put together children's budgets. It's strange to people who don't work in our field that government has no idea how much they spend on young people. It's just not compiled. Budgets aren't developed that way. There's no way to know, is most of the funding going for prevention programs or health programs or after school programs. And so having a overarching understanding of what the budget is, so you can both have a baseline to hopefully show that the budget goes up over time for children and youth, and to have advocates aware if the budget's going down, but to also be able to prioritize. Coupling children's budgets with children's report cards, where again, if you have a comprehensive look across ages, across populations, across issue areas, a way to look at, all right, where are people getting stuck? Where are we making progress? And if there's an area we're going in the wrong direction on, let's address that in our children's budget and increase support for the areas that people are struggling with. Then on the youth side, obviously a huge passion for me over the years in so many ways. So again, back to the further reflections on paper, we talked about things like creating grassroots citizen constituencies, organizing a Sierra Club for youth, advancing advocacy coalitions, supporting youth organizing, governance, leadership. I would say this is something that we have tried. I've tried both inside and outside of the forum, lots of different ways to move this forward, all of which I feel good about, and none of which has come near to delivering on our goals and aspirations for it. So yeah, I've been compelled for years about the idea of an AARP for youth. Seeing in surveys, there's questions for policymakers of which organizations have the most clout, and AARP and NRA are the top one or two consistently over time. And any related to youth, they're like literally, I've gone through lists of the top 100 and there's nothing really there. So some of the things we've tried over time, we've tried to support youth councils. So these are times when a governor or mayor or legislature says, hey, maybe if we're talking about youth issues, we should have some way to figure out what young people themselves actually think and say about it, and have created youth councils or similarly named thing where you have a cohort of young people who gets to know the children's cabinet, gets to know the governor, the mayor, and can be a voice and perspective on that. We cut our teeth on a lot of these things in New Mexico, where we spent a lot of time with their children's cabinet and their youth council, the New Mexico Youth Alliance, and One of the examples that came out of it was advocates had been saying we need more school-based health centers. The Governor Richardson, his fiscal people were saying, well, we're already paying for county health clinics in those same areas. This is wasteful, duplicative spending. And the governor happened to have a meeting with his youth council then and said, hey, here's what I'm hearing. What do you think? And the young people said, look, we're in a small rural community. If I go to a community health clinic, by the time I leave, the rumors are going to be everywhere that I'm pregnant. And so I'm not going to go. Like, I just don't want that stigma put on me. But if it was in the school and people were naturally going in, I could get this whatever health services I actually need. And the governor said, got it, makes sense. And I think pushed through the largest increase of funding for school-based health clinics in the state's history, I believe. So there really are ways that young people have insights that others don't. That model, it's a very bureaucratic one. You have to be, inside of government, and that's a big part of, that's one good part to move forward. But it's not what AARP does, of also building the movement of young people. And so we created at one time the Youth Policy Action Center, so an online place that young people could go and take action on the issues that they've believed in. That got folded into what's now the forum SparkAction platform that I'll probably talk about in a little bit. I did a stint outside the forum with an organization called Splash Life that was trying to literally create an AARP for youth and have discounts and support for that. There's some great stuff going on now with it. Hashtag Youth in Government, Youth in Gov, that's pushing forward on this. We still don't have a major powerful advocacy movement for young people. There really is nothing with the clout of an AARP or anything close. So I kind of would give us maybe A for effort on that front, but a C for success to date. And I'm hoping people continue to push forward and try to do this, because I really think the types of policy wins we're going to be able to do are going to be in a whole different category if there's actually some political might and muscle behind them.